Friday night, and I am home and alone after going to a kind of an odd healing type of event. There was quite the language barrier. I think the person leading was having to translate for 3 different languages for the entire time. So that was tough. And I always feel good after I engage in something socially, even though I'm noticing a lot in myself lately, a real reluctance to go out and do things. And I have spinach in my teeth. I try to, so I do 50-50 with my son, and between his dad and me, and it's week on, week off, which is super common. And this is my week where my son is staying with his dad. And I really do try on these weeks to make sure that I have balance in how I spend my time. Because I want to do things that are just for me, that are just myself. Whether that's me actually in solitude, sometimes, even going for a really long walk, although it's fucking cold and I fucking hate it. Or if it's myself going to some sort of event or gathering or social thing, but I go by myself, like tonight with the healing circle. Or even I really do like trying different like yoga, especially if I find a good place where things that I'm with other people, but I engage in it by myself. And then I do try to make sure that I have like at least a friend plan or 2. And then, dating and stuff in there too. Although it's funny that out of all of these things, these ways to like fill my non-mom time, it continues to surprise me that dating is like my least enjoyed thing out of all those options. Like solo solitude time, solo plans, but with people in an experience or exercise or an event or something, and friend plans and whatever. I don't have a ton of not interest in dating. I think I find myself like perpetually just disappointed in men, because I feel like as a cis woman who is straight, there's sometimes where like I pity us. Like, have you met men? It ain't great. It ain't great. However, I also recognize, because I spend a lot of time, at home, I work from home, and I struggle to focus on work, so I am often like lost in my mind. That loneliness is a struggle for me. And I think I feel 2 different kinds of loneliness. I think that I have existential loneliness. And I heard this term, and it really resonated with me because the existential, what makes it existential is that I think I have often said to people that I have, pardon me while I adjust my boobs, although this is like men grabbing their balls in public and being like, what's up? What makes it existential is it isn't about a situation or a certain like time in your life. I don't know if this video is gonna work. Maybe we're back. It is more of a belief that no one can see me. No one is able to see me. That maybe there isn't anyone who can be around long enough and provide enough safety and consistency for me to open up and be vulnerable and show myself. And that even if they do stick around long enough, provide the safety and consistency, that this sounds so superior, but that like my depth can't be met. That I'm not going to find someone who has the capacity and the depth that I do. And there's a part of me that wonders, and then the other loneliness, which is, to me, that is the situational. Like, okay, it's Friday night. I purposely did not make any plans tonight. I mean, I went to that event thing, and that was it. Oh no, I was supposed to have plans with a friend, and I did that last night instead. And so, yeah, this feels a little lonely. It would be nice to have someone here. It would be nice to have, physical touch and sex and someone to talk to, and have that, like, familiar comfort of a partner. The part about existential loneliness, though, is that is the one that I worry for me is going to, like, at some point stop me from even trying to find anyone. And I worry about that. I worry about living and sitting for a long time or forever in a state of, like, wanting a partner and yet feeling like there's no one that could be what I want and need. I also think that there is a part of this that comes from topic of the day, air day, childhood emotional neglect from caregivers. So I think that I recognized, who knows at what point, because also, like, I realized really, I don't know if it's problematic, I don't know, in, like, talking with people about life and childhood and parents, whatever, it's pretty alarming how little I remember of my childhood. Like, even getting asked questions about, do you remember a time when you had a hard, conversation with your mom or whatever? And it's like, I can think of, maybe like one example. Or and that's just like an often response to that, to questions about stuff. And I've had this in therapy too, of getting asked for like specific examples of things that I have communicated, because I feel like I often communicate in concepts rather than in, excuse me, rather than in examples. And so I get asked for examples of these concepts, and I'm just like one of the concepts that, the phrases that I think I have said in therapy before is, like the sentiment that I feel like I understood as a kid was like, if I was emotional or if I was sad or whatever, that I felt like the expectation or the response was, go to your room. Maybe not as like a punishment, but almost as like a, we don't have emotions out here, so go have those on your own, and come back when they're gone or something. And I remember getting asked like about specific instances, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember a lot of specifics. But so childhood emotional neglect. I think that whenever that understanding really grabbed hold in me of emotions were not welcome, that this was a side of me that was not meant to be around them, that I there wasn't a lot of like expectation that I could have of like being supported or being upset or like falling apart, and having an expectation of being like comforted. That was like my sentiment. And I have wondered, even in this like existential loneliness type of feeling, is it that like I retreated and turned inward so much that maybe a lot of the human experience, and especially growing up and like becoming an emotional person, and especially being an emotional person with other people, where you do get that sort of communication of like maybe curiosity about what you're feeling, or or support, or comfort of like a hug, that a lot of people probably like develop, emotions and their like internal emotional world and their sense of like identity around their emotions, how they probably like process emotions, how they maybe grieve things, maybe even like building an expectation or even just a sense of being comforted, and having things reflected back at them, even if you're like a 7-year-old kid and you're around other kids at school or something, if you're kind of a dick, like hopefully other kids will tell you that, or your parents will, your caregivers will, help like guide you or steer you or help you explain things, or help explain things to you so that you can have some like words and understanding around what you're going through or whatever. Like myriad ways of developing your emotional self in connection with others, and especially with your caregivers. And I don't think that I had that. So I feel like my emotional world was really like developed on my own and by myself, that I felt like, letting this stuff out and trying to do those things, maybe, of like processing through stuff or talking through stuff, or, you know, taking up space or falling apart or asking for support or whatever, that I like shoved that down and ate that and just retreated internally really badly. And so all of my emotional skills are just with myself, by myself. I don't know how to bring that into any kind of relationship. I've seen this with friends too. Like, obviously the biggest example for me, you know, someone who, of all the parts of life that are, you know, take up your time and effort and energy and whatever, for me it's romantic relationships that like far outweigh everything else for what weighs on me. So it's hardest there. But I've even noticed this like with friendships and, you know, work, my relationship with work and people at work and everything, and especially with romantic partners, that I don't know how to emotionally engage because I've never developed that. So there's a part of me that wonders the whole like existential loneliness of do I feel that because it's true, or do I feel that because I have not experienced the externalization and like the like, not codependent, is it like mutuality, or like maybe it's just like mutual support of having a relationship where you can show that, you can let it out, you can express it, you can ask for things, and, you know, the other person does the same thing, and that you kind of have this like volley, and it's safe, and you're allowed to say what you need, and they can say what they need, whatever. I mean, this feels like fucking relationship 101. How to be in an emotional relationship. But I feel like I retreated internally from a young age, and so my entire emotional world, which feels giant and all-consuming inside of me, has only ever existed inside of me. And that maybe that's what contributes to this existential loneliness of I haven't experienced externalizing emotions with someone and getting comfort and support and feedback and safety and consistency and all of that. So that kind of loneliness, I would sort of like to find a way to tell to fuck off. This like short-term loneliness of, you know, it's Friday and man, it would just be nice to have someone that I am comfortable with and that I want to be around and that I have desire for and everything. You know, this kind of loneliness is, it's hard, but it always feels like there's just a time element to it. Like, I am already looking forward to tomorrow when it's Saturday and I will craft up a beautiful day of something artistic, probably yoga, and then a date tomorrow, and it's going to be a great day, and I don't envision myself feeling lonely because I'll fill my time up. So I understand that this kind of loneliness is just like, it's just the here and now. But the existential loneliness, you know, these are just, I love doing these video journals. I get so many therapy notes out of it. I'm gonna have to start having like weekly or every other week sessions here. I'm on like a once a month kind of rotation, and fuck,